The mallard, or Anis platyrhynchus, begins its life in a spotless egg, taking 50 to 60 days to fledge and reaching physical maturity at around a year. The mallard, best known for
Introducing Duck Game, Adult Swim's new Steam game about ducks. Grab some friends, choose a hat, then shoot each other in the face. Enjoy lightning-fast rounds, online multiplayer, and an irresponsible number of weapons. It's ducks beating the hell out of each other. Duck Game.
Duck Game is a multiplayer game created by Landon Pobielski. Originally developed using the open source engine Monogame and released on the Ouya, Landon created Duck Game based on one of his favorite games, James Pond 3. After creating a prototype in GameMaker, a friend of Landon's insisted that they add some guns and try to shoot each other. Quote, pistols and shotguns were added first, with one-shot kills because it was the easiest and quickest way to get it working. It ended up being fun, so I put together a prototype, and one thing led to another. The premise of Duck Game is simple. You get assigned a duck, you pick a hat, you find a weapon, and then you kill everyone else. There are no health bars in Duck Game, and mallards are glass cannons. One bullet, one grenade, or one box to the head, and your life as a waterfowl is over. Your only respite is the hope that whoever killed you has the decency to close your eyes and quack at your funeral. The current version of Duck Game supports up to 8 players locally and peer-to-peer, and includes a single-player challenge mode, which is popular in the speedrunning community. While the game sounds like it has a simple premise, it actually gets pretty complicated. The main reason is because of the stages. Each stage has different geometry, contains hazards like spikes and explosives, and all have different weapons, from chainsaws to shotguns, muskets to whatever this is. Each weapon has a finite amount of ammo when you pick it up, and quick swapping weapons and adapting to what you can grab is a key aspect of the game's skill curve. Many stages are created by the community using the level editor, and can be downloaded and played through the Steam Workshop. But none of this existed when the game originally released. Back in 2014, the game only had local multiplayer, and the Ouya's flopping contributed to lack of interest in the game. However, Landon had a great idea: show the game to a publisher. The one he chose? Adult Swim. Saying, quote, Adult Swim had just finished publishing a local-only couch co-op multiplayer game that didn't do so well, and the only way they could be convinced to publish DG was if I agreed to implement online multiplayer. So he went on to develop Duck Game's online netcode and settled on peer-to-peer connections. Quote, I had so much trouble with it that at one point during development, I practically begged Adult Swim to let me drop online multiplayer for now and add it later, but they extended the deadline and insisted that the game have it for release. When the game was eventually published by Adult Swim on Steam on June 4th, 2015, it was praised both for its silliness as well as its frantic multiplayer combat. Huge creators like Video Game Donkey and Markiplier featured the game on their channel,
and we take 10 paces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What am I, fucking stupid?
That's not 10!
What do you think I'm stupid?
and over the ensuing years, the game was even ported to the PS4 and Nintendo Switch in 2017 and 2019, respectively.
I've been playing for so long.
Now, you might be asking yourself, how does a 4-player party game with the most basic shooting mechanics become competitive? Well, like other games like Super Smash Bros., the community found different exploit mechanics, which allowed the game to become much deeper, much faster, and much more interesting. Many of these mechanics came out through abusing bugs or code in the game, and the skill ceiling started to fly north. Here's how the game works at a basic level. You look left or right, and you press the shoot button. There's also a strafing button that if you hold it down, you'll lock your duck's vision, and it's possible to shoot upwards if you either run into a wall and shoot, or hold down on the jump button while falling to aim your gun up. However, players also found a way to shoot diagonally. If you jump, flap your wings, and turn in the opposite direction, your gun will face downwards for about 3 frames while it returns to a neutral position, and you can shoot downwards in that diagonal direction. If you flap your wings and not turn around, you can shoot in a diagonal direction upwards. The game even has wave dashing, rag dashing. Duck Game doesn't have an air dodge mechanic, but it does have a button where you can ragdoll your duck. And also, this. These mechanics are just the tip of the iceberg. There's sword climbing, door clipping, angle saving, and so much more.
When I started playing Duck Game, it was really early high school. I met this group of friends. You go to your one friend's house, got a nice PC set up, got a couple controllers, and all of a sudden you're playing Duck Game of all games because you can't think of anything else. Duck Game for me has been a very long road of just playing with my friends casually and just hanging out. It's been a part of what makes us as like a friend group. I've always had my signature AstroPal hat on every single time, or the aviators. We all had our own like signature hats and stuff, but I never really got into competitively. I never got into it competitively at all. We would just try and beat each other, and that was really it. But we eventually started learning tech on our own.
With so much tech, it might be unsurprising to hear that Duck Game has an esports scene. The community is small, but tournaments like New Duck City and FOWL Play are keeping the game alive. Some small speedrunning circles love the single-player challenge mode, and it was also featured at Conebreaker 2022. Oh yeah, the massive side event, which featured about 26 entrants, including Jabali himself, even though he DQ'd, and gave the world its first glimpse at what pure 1v1 duck-on-duck action really looks like.
Almost every game under the sun here, and I wonder what else is here. And all of a sudden I see Duck Game, and I think, there's no way Duck Game is at why is Duck Game even here? And so I tell my friends, yo, Duck Game's at Conebreaker, who wants to go? And they're all like, I can't make it, I can't afford all that. But you're going, go represent us. You better compete in that shit and win. So I had no choice. I clearly had no choice. I signed up. I decided to compete in Duck Game just on a whim. When I went to Conebreaker and I competed, it was a really, really fun bracket run. I went pretty clean through winners, took out everybody I could. It was best of one as well. You played one 1st to 10 match, and that was it. So it was pretty brutal because you could get fucked over by some spawns, some unlucky item spawns, whatever. I made it to top 8 pretty cleanly, and I got knocked out by Anthony. Guy I would have to fight in grand finals as well. We had winners finals, we had grand finals together. Winners finals and grand finals, me and Anthony were just talking the whole time. Like, literally, it was the least competitive grand finals I've ever played in my life. I loved it. It was way too much fun. At that point, I was not there to win. I was there to just play Duck Game. We were pretty evenly matched, so there was no like feeling of like destruction or anything, or like, oh, I'm not good enough, or this guy's way too crazy, or nothing like that. We were just talking the whole time. Stuff would happen, we'd laugh, we'd look at each other and just be like, and we were like just non-stop having a good time. And it wasn't, I was there to have fun the entire weekend, and that grand finals was the peak.
So why isn't this game more popular than it was? While the Steam page has over 22,000 reviews, it does feel like a bit of a one-off party game. While there's still a dedicated community playing the game, there have been a lack of actual tournaments hosted.
It's the kind of game where you can load into it, hop in, say what the hell's going on, and be laughing your ass off the next 5 minutes. Like, genuinely a game that's open for anybody and is easy to get into. You don't even have to learn any of the competitive tech or anything like that to have an amazing time with the game. I know I didn't for multiple years, and then over the course of time, we kind of just found our own way of playing, whether that involved competitive tech or not, right?
With Duck Game's official release being 8 years ago, Landon has already moved on to another project, citing a much-needed break from Duck Game. Quote, I've been planning a new project for a long time, and I want to get started on it full-time this year as soon as possible. That doesn't necessarily mean that Duck Game will never be updated again, or that it will never get a sequel, but after 7 years of fairly consistent development on the game, a break is in order, and I'm taking it. If you want to just play with your friends at a party, or try your hand at the competitive scene, we highly recommend checking it out. While Duck Game most likely won't be on the main stage of EVO next year, there are plenty of smaller community-run events happening all the time. And even though you might be a small duck in a big pond, this game is definitely worth checking out.
Everyone loves Duck Game!
This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, and shout out to B, Cloud, Pass, Shampoo, Spartacus, and Yashichi for being Platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Steph and Jack for being our Diamond supporters. Hope y'all are having a good summer. If you want to talk to us, check out our Discord. If you want to support our channel and get info on unreleased videos, check out our Patreon. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah. Thanks for watching.